is you telling us we ain't from Africa. You got a European mitochondrial line. Stop.
Still talking about shit you don't know nothing about, huh? And this is why your arguments with the pretendians when it comes to DNA never works. Haplogroups do not show you who you are. They don't give you your race. They don't give you your ethnicity. Mitochondrial DNA and Y DNA show thousands of years back. And all it shows is when population groups separated from each other and developed new mutations to their regions. In a highly admixed population like we have here in the United States, haplogroups are never going to tell you what your race or your ethnicity is at all. They only show one snapshot of a picture of your DNA. Y DNA only shows one line of your father's side, not every line on your father's side. And mitochondrial DNA only shows one line on your mother's side, not every line on your mother's side. Like seriously, stop talking that shit you don't know nothing about. You're literally confusing people over and over and over again. This is not your realm. Stay in your motherfucking lane. Also, let's not forget that Dr. Gina Page is not a medical doctor or a geneticist, and her PhD is honorary. Her specialty is business, which is why she runs the company. She's not the actual geneticist. You're continuing to use DNA as a way to prove people's racial or ethnic identities, which is race science, which makes it pseudo.
Oh Lord. She must be looking for attention again. That's okay. I'll always be the one to give it to her. I thought we already covered this. BGP, you clearly don't understand how race is conceptualized. You don't understand history, haplogroups, or how ethnicities function. So why do you keep speaking on topics you don't fully grasp? Let's address what happened.
Why is it every time I set up an interview with Dr. Gina Page, the CEO of African Ancestry, everybody loses their mind? Earth Speaks is over here losing his mind. He is saying that these people are lying. You are the indigenous people of the Americas. Nobody brought you here from Africa. Bro, your mama is YT. Okay? That means your mother's mothers came from fucking Europe, bro. So how the hell is you telling us we ain't from Africa? You got a European mitochondrial line. Stop it. Nobody with the European haplogroup is indigenous to America. You know that, right? You've been capping to these people too damn long, and somebody needs to call it out, bro. You got a European haplogroup, a European mitochondrial line. You guys are allergic to DNA testing, all of you. Meanwhile, stay locked in. Interview with Dr. Gina Page, the CEO of African Ancestry, coming soon.
Port City was responding to Earth Speaks about African Americans being descendants of Africans. Earth Speaks, on the other hand, has a white mother with a European mitochondrial line. Maybe your comprehension skills failed you again, but Port was correct. His mother is white and most likely descends from a European haplogroup. Yet, in your constant need for attention, you've once again demonstrated your lack of understanding when it comes to race and its conceptualization. Now, let's move on to another claim you just made, because you've really been on a roll.
Appropriating culture? Well, literally, the entire world appropriates Mexican indigenous culture. How many Taco Tuesdays have you had? How many Cinco de Mayos did you go out and drink without really understanding what the Cinco de Mayo celebration is supposed to be about? How many indigenous foods do you guys call soul food? Barbecue is an indigenous invention. But welcome to the cookout, right?
Many people confuse barbecuing with the indigenous word barbacoa, which originates from the Arawak people. However, cooking food over an open fire is not unique to the Americas. It is one of the oldest cooking techniques in human history. Barbacoa was simply the Arawak term for it. The fact that you're trying to cosplay as a native person, but can't even do that correctly, is laughable. And since we're talking about food, let's discuss another common misconception. Cornbread, a staple in soul food, was created using the ingredients given to African-descended people, allowing them to craft something entirely new. While corn itself is indigenous to the Americas, cornbread is distinctly African-American.
How often has our music been incorporated into hip-hop?
Now, did I hear this correctly? Did you actually try to insinuate that Mexican culture played a role in the creation of hip-hop? I just dragged Ivan for spreading a similar lie about Puerto Ricans. It's fascinating how so many demographics claim to have influenced or played a foundational role in African American culture, only to turn around and gatekeep their own traditions from black people. Please, enlighten me, where exactly has Mexican indigenous culture been incorporated into hip-hop? And once again, here you are, bringing unnecessary drama into the Native community.
Actually, what this comment section has proven is that you, in your little cult following, are completely anti-Native and xenophobic and love pushing misinformation. Because you still haven't been able to answer my questions. You can even answer them on my live. If half of the Latino population was eligible to vote, then how did more than half vote for Trump? If less than 1% of the Latino population was polled in those exit polls, how is that indicative of 65 million people? We all know statistics isn't your strong suit. We know math is hard for you.
Let's talk about these exit polls, since you've been screaming about them without actually understanding how the data was collected or what it really means. For the past 4 months on TikTok, everyone has been referring to these exit polls. So, let's break it down. These polls were conducted in key states. But why are these states considered key? Because they hold the highest number of electoral votes in the U.S. In a presidential election, winning these states often means winning the presidency. These states are commonly referred to as pivotal states, and for good reason. They play a decisive role in determining the outcome of an election. Conducting polls in these states provides crucial insight into how an election is shaping up. Contrary to what you might think, they don't need to poll the entire country. Surveying a sample of eligible voters is enough to generate meaningful data. But apparently, you didn't pay attention in school, which might explain the unhinged rants you keep posting on social media.
But really, what you keep on proving is how anti-Native and xenophobic you are. And yes, anti-Native because you seem to only target brown Latinos who are indigenous to these lands. You ain't got no smoke for black Latinos who voted for Trump. You ain't got no smoke for white Latinos who voted for Trump. No, you got smoke for brown Latinos and Palestinians, both whom are going through active genocides. I got one more question for you, Genty. How much you getting paid to be an agent? Because it's given COINTELPRO 2.0. Have a day.
This is exactly why you shouldn't speak on topics you don't understand. You hear black people calling out anti-blackness, and instead of grasping the nuance, you try to flip it, throwing around terms like anti-Native and xenophobic without actually understanding what you're talking about. All it does is make you look ignorant. What you're really doing is grifting, exploiting people's pain while they lose family members and suffer attacks under this administration. And let's not forget, in one of your video's comment sections, you claim to be boots on the ground. Where, exactly? Because from what I can see, your only boots are on TikTok, grifting for attention. Now, have a day.